Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to another episode of Amazing Worlds, where today I'm going to be reviewing the Lightbringer series by American author Brent Weeks. And if you haven't done so, please check my earlier video on the Night Angel trilogy, which is Brent Weeks' first series. So, what we've got today here is the Lightbringer series, which is made up of Book 1, The Black Prism, Book 2, The Blinding Knife, Book 3, The Broken Eye, Book 4, The Blood Mirror, and Book 5, and the last one in the series, is The Burning White. Book 5, I've actually got it in hardcover because I really wanted to finish the series. I couldn't be bothered to wait to the trade paperback, and actually this is a first edition which is quite nicely signed by Brent Weeks over there. And because I want to do things properly, I've got my little book of notes today because I was gathering my ideas and putting them on paper because I wanted to discuss them in an orderly manner. So to begin with, I want to start by saying that I found myself wanting to like this series more than I actually liked it, which I think goes to say something. I'm not entirely sure what, but I'm going to try to unpick it. So what I'm going to do is, this could be possibly a long review. So I'm going to start with the positives, and I'm going to keep things in a spoiler-free manner, and then later on I am going to go into spoilers, so I will let you know when, if you want to stop watching or skip to the end, because I think there are things that I need to discuss that pertain to the plot and pertain to characters that need to be discussed. So to begin with, let's start with some of the positives. I think the most interesting thing about this series is the magic system, and I thought from the word go a really creative idea. The magic system in the Lightbringer series is a hard magic system, so there are very clear and hard set rules in which the magic users operate, and they cannot deviate from that. And the idea is kind of reverse physics, so you think about how we can burn substances to create light. Well, in here we can reverse the process. We can take light, which in the books is called drafting, so the magic users draft light of different colors to create a substance called luxin. And depending on the color of the light that you draft, the luxin comes up naturally of a different color, and it has got different properties. So for instance, if you draft red light, you create red luxin, which is sort of very flammable and very unstable. And different colors have got different properties. And not only that, they affect your mood in a different way. So I believe it was violet makes you very rational and very sort of logical thinking, and green, which is more related to wilderness and nature, makes you very instinctive and very impulsive. And there's all these things, and it's very clever, it's very neat, and it brings together different elements there. And magic users can be monochromes, so there's only one type of color that they can draft, or they can be bichromes, and they can draft light of 2 different colors, or they can be polychromes, they can draft 3 different colors. And then you've got the Prism, who is the biggest, greatest wizard in the world, who can draft all different colors. Now, as a magic system, there are very hard rules and costs attached to drafting. So wizards cannot draft light forever. Basically, they've got a limited short span. The more magic they use, the more kind of the more sort of the magic builds up in the system, the more it consumes them, and you can tell by their eyes. So say a blue drafter, the more light he drafts and the more luxing he creates, his eyes start to go blue, and then there's a limit point in which the color blue breaks the halos, and then they go crazy, they go insane, they become obsessed with luxing, they become really unstable, and they have to be eliminated, removed from society in a ceremonial killing called the freeing. Unless they go rogue and they escape, in which case they are hunted and killed. So really exciting magic system there. The next point I wanted to mention that was really positive of the series is that some of the characters are really interested, very well fleshed out, and they go through very interesting story arcs. Our main character for the first few books, Gavin Gyle, is one of them. Andros, who is our main antagonist in the series, he's got an interesting character for sure. To a lesser degree, Tia, one of the Blackguard members. What is very good as well about the books is there's that sort of bromance, sense of camaraderie, that kind of quick quipping, ball breaking, sort of mick-taking dynamic that the core group of heroes have between them. So a little bit, reminded me a little bit like the Gentleman Bastards series by Scott Lynch, but not to the same level for reasons I'm going to go into next. So that's the series. It's very readable, it's easily read, the writing style is clear, it's not convoluted at all, it's an easy read, the books flow quite nicely. You've only got about 4 or 5 different character point of views of the books, and they are engaging. However, there are some negatives to the series, okay, and this is where I have to go into spoiler mode, because I never bought the basic premise of the story. Okay, I mean, this is not revealing too much because it's revealed in the first couple of early books. So our main character, Gavin Gyle, is not actually Gavin Gyle. He is actually Dazen Gyle, who is Gavin's younger brother, who he defeated at a battle set in a time past prior to the books. My problem is you've got 2 siblings that they are not even twins, and one of them is impersonating the other in front of the whole world, in front of his fiancée, in front of his parents, and no one can tell them apart. I just don't buy that, and it's a bit silly because I'm willing to be sucked into a fantasy world of magic and wizards and fantastical creatures, but I couldn't wrap my head around that. I've got 2 children, they are 30 years apart. I know who's who. I know which one's which. If anything, by the sound of the voices. Even if they really look alike, just because in the books Gavin had a scar behind his ear and Dazen didn't, and then Dazen decided to magically recreate the scar, and that's okay, and then he's totally unidentifiable and recognizable to everyone else. Sorry, no. I couldn't really get into that. Again, a similar issue that I had with the Night Angel trilogy is the world building, which I think is not one of Brent Weeks' strong points, and let me elaborate on that, let me explain why I think that is the case. The world is not overly fantastical, in the sense that there are very few races. There are 7 kingdoms, which in the books are called the 7 satrapies, but they are all human kingdoms. So really, you don't get a sense for how different each country or kingdom is relative to the other. But Brent Weeks keeps on referring to them by their nationality, and someone comes dressed in the traditional Parian gear. It's like, what does that even look like? And some people thought he was from Ruthgar instead. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's very clear in your head as a writer when you're writing, but I don't think it was that detailed and that well conveyed to the reader about the distinctions and the differences between all these separate countries / kingdoms, satrapies, whatever you want to call them. The other thing, and this is maybe a bit of nitpicking, but I found it grinding. You're creating a fantasy world. I'm not asking you to be Tolkien and create different languages, to create from scratch an elven language, a dwarfish language. I don't, okay? But why on earth are you using real world obscure languages in your books? There are Gaelic words in there, there are Latin words in there, there are Hebrew words in there, and they take me out of the fantasy. I mean, one of the gods is called Ferry Lux. Ferry, iron in Latin, Lux is light. Why? Why Gaelic? The second I see Gaelic names being used there, it takes me out of the fantasy world and it sends me back to the summer I spent in Ireland picking potatoes in a farm. That's just what it does, and I don't think it's a great idea. More to the point, again, nitpicking here, but at one point one of the characters is talking and he relates something saying that it's similar to running a marathon. A marathon is an earthly thing. A marathon is an actual place in Greece where Phidippides ran all the way to let them know about the outcome of a victory. It takes me out of the fantasy world back to the real world, to our ancient history. There's no need for that. Why? I think that's careless. My opinion, but I think it really doesn't convey a well thought out, detailed world building. Quick intermission here. This is the day after I recorded the main body of the video, and there were a couple of things I forgot to mention that I would like to add now and then get back to the main video. Another example of a plot dead end prominent in the Lightbringer series is the section where we are introduced to a certain condition where Thesis, who is Kip's love interest, she's one of the sort of secondary supporting characters there. How to say it? She's got a slight problem in the down there region where, how to say, the size of the garage is too small for the car. Okay, and apparently it's a real life condition. It's something that maybe the author felt like drawing our attention to, raising awareness and that sort of thing. I mean, my stance on sex in fantasy, I don't need it. To me, it doesn't add anything to the story, and in this case, even more so. So I believe it's in book 3. Could have been book 4. I think it's book 3 that we're introduced to this condition. I don't know what it's called. So our lovely, lovey-dovey young lovebirds couple are having issues parking the car. Okay. So it's a bit of an issue, it's getting in the way of their relationship, and that's it. By the next book, they are at it, like rabbits in hair, cannot even keep their hands off each other, hiding inside a wardrobe, going again, like that, and all the problems, all the issues that they had in the previous book, ignored, forgotten, they managed to work it out, moved on. Did they find a cure? No. Did they seek counselling? No. Therapy? No. Some magical treatment? Nothing. It's just a thing about, let's talk about this, but I'm just going to make it relevant by the next book because need to move on, plot, story continues. And, doesn't go anywhere, doesn't add anything to the story. I don't know, maybe some people are okay with it. Maybe there's always a time and a place to raise awareness about certain rare conditions. To me, my fantasy books is not the place to do it, particularly when it bears no weight, it doesn't add anything to the story, and it doesn't seem to get in the way of the characters, because as I said, by the next book, like that. There you go. Okay. Another thing that I found a bit grinding about the Lightbringer series is that at one point Andros, who is our antagonist, cleverer than clever, you know, super cunning guy that just gets a little bit irritating because he's not just 1, 2, he's just 3 steps ahead of everyone else. Engages Kip in a game of, basically it's Magic the Gathering, okay? They are playing Magic the Gathering, and I don't know, I just found that a little bit cheap. There's no way to hide it. They are playing Magic the Gathering. I tweeted, reached out to Brent Weeks and asked him, because at the back of the book where he introduces this game, which in the series is called Nine Kings, he claims to have never have played or heard of Magic the Gathering, which I find really difficult to believe. If you're a fantasy writer, you're familiar with the genre, I know that goes around the periphery of it. You must have heard about Dungeons and Dragons, you must have heard about Magic the Gathering. You may not have actively played it, but surely you know what it looks like and what it is. And then to claim that you never heard of it, that coincidentally you've come up with the idea of Magic the Gathering there, I don't buy it. As I said, I tweeted Brent Weeks, he very kindly replied, he said that he had a passing awareness of it but didn't really know what it was. I don't know, I don't need my fantasy characters playing Magic the Gathering. You know, it's just, again, another thing that for me, it's a small thing, but it detracted from the story. I don't know, come up with a different game. You don't have to flesh it out, you don't have to explain it. Terry Pratchett in the Discworld series comes up with a game called Thought, who is some sort of chess, but you don't have to explain it. You don't have to give me the rules so I can get an idea about it. It's just some sort of board game with pieces. I don't know. This could have been some sort of different game, whatever, mix cards with coins and figures. You don't have to explain the rules, but give me something different, not just Magic the Gathering, and then claim you didn't know what it was. It just doesn't wash with me. Anyway, that was the other incision I wanted to make. That's why I'm wearing a different attire. And back to the main video. Thank you. Now, this is more in general, but the books get more and more convoluted as the story goes on, which is not a bad thing in itself. But when I put that together with the knowledge that the series started as a trilogy and it's ended up being 5 books, and the last book took longer to get out than anticipated, I got the sense that you've got all these different strands sort of tangling up and getting really messy, and it got to a point where, oh my god, how am I going to untangle this mess? How am I going to satisfyingly resolve all these different strands of this plot that I've taken in different directions? And I think it got really messy. And actually, at the end of the 4th book, before The Burning White came out, I was thinking, how is this all going to resolve in one book? The way the 4th book finishes, it's an absolute mess. And yeah, okay, the last book is the longest, it's just over 900 pages long, but I think it just got too much and it got very difficult to unravel all of that. Then what have I got here? The ending, a little bit unsatisfying. The big baddie that has been built up for the last 3 books, he doesn't even have a final confrontation with anyone. It doesn't happen. He just somehow goes. That's it. Fine. There's also other things that there are plot conveniences. Okay, there are plot conveniences that don't make any sense. Why some characters should be or do certain things, but they do, and I suppose it's because, particularly in the 5th book, I need to untangle the mess, I've gone too far, this is getting too long, I need to get this out of the way. So, spoiler alert again. So, Green Woody sends Gavin/Daisen to go and kill the god Orholam. Fine. Gavin gets there, but he doesn't kill the god, doesn't even confront him. The god all of a sudden decides to help Gavin defeat Green Woody and the evil armies that are coming to take over the world. Why would Green Woody send Gavin if that was a possibility? Or was he too stupid to know that? Or didn't even contemplate that? And I don't know, it just seemed like departure from what was meant to happen. Didn't make sense. Then final battle. So I believe it was Kip, one of our main characters, is about to get killed. There's no escaping there, and all of a sudden Taya, who is meant to be blind, who's meant to be locked up in a room, healing from her wounds, she's been poisoned, any exposure to light is gonna kill her, all of a sudden she's there to save the day. Bam, sorted. Why? It doesn't make any sense. Where did she come from? How did she get there? Makes no sense whatsoever. There are other plot, it's not plot holes, I call them plot dead ends. There are directions in which we are taken that actually lead nowhere and actually do not advance the story at all. Okay, so spoiler again. Dazn is revealed to be impersonating Gavin, and we discover that he is keeping his brother Gavin locked up in some dungeon in the Chromeria, in the big tower of magic. Alright? Okay, cool. We reveal that, and 3 chapters later, Dazn kills Gavin. And that's it. That's it. We have a big reveal that this guy has been kept prisoner for years and years and years, and 3 chapters later, we kill him. And that's it. And nothing happens. That's it. He's dead. And it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter because later on it's revealed that Dazn is a bit crazy and he was just imagining everything. Why? Makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense. And then again, plot conveniences. There are some real ex machina moments there that just made me really cringe and just want to throw the book away. I believe it's book 3, I think it is, the end of book 3. So we got our heroes at the top of a tower, and as I'm reading it, I was thinking, they're not getting out of this. There's just no way they're getting out of this. They're at the top of a tower, they are injured, there's all these guards coming to fight them, there's no way to escape. But, didn't you know that there's a secret lever that you pull and then this cable appears that is being hidden, that no one knew it was there for years and years and years, and there's a cable that takes you to the top of the tower, down to the town centre, and our heroes just zip line all the way down and escape. And there's been no build up to it, there's been no hint of it, it's not mentioned anywhere, it was just conveniently there, secretly, only they knew, in order to escape. It's just bad writing. I believe that's bad writing. You cannot have things like that. It's like the Taya moment saving Kip. Where did that come from? Why was it there? No, not for me. Not for me. And then, I suppose, okay. My biggest gripe, I mean, I've said, I didn't buy the premise of Dazn impersonating Gavin. Those Deus Ex Machina moments did really irk me because, you know, I've been invested for almost 4,000 plus pages to have my heroes escape somehow that no one knew about. But I think the tone of the book also didn't work for me. And what I mean by the tone of the book is that I don't think it takes itself seriously enough, okay? Lord of the Rings takes itself very seriously, okay? And it's got a tone, it's a fantasy book, it doesn't try to be too dark, it's a little bit sort of bucolic, pastoral, but at no point is it self-deprecating. Gentlemen Bastards, it's got a comedy element to it, but it takes itself seriously. It's the jokes are there, but that's it. You can sort of imagine it being part of normal conversation between characters. The problem with the Lightbringer series is that there is a lot, and I mean a lot, of internal dialogue carried out by a number of characters. And in that internal dialogue, these characters tell themselves jokes, and they crack themselves laughing, and then find themselves amusingly funny. And not only do they do that, but it's almost as if Brent Weeks is proud that he's made a joke. Oh look, I made a joke here. So not only is the joke told, oh, but she found it so funny, how could she have thought of that? Or how could he have said that? Or he always makes him... It's like, no, it's childish, it's puerile, it's juvenile, it's bad, okay? Show, don't tell. Show me the joke, but don't tell me you've told a joke. I've read it, I got it. And then he explains it, he explains some of the jokes, just in case you didn't get them. And no, sorry, it's just, it did grind on me, as I said. Some of the characters are great, the magic system, very creative. The world building, yeah, but the overall story, it tries to be epic. It wants to be encompassing different countries, different armies, gods are coming. It tries to be really majestic, but the tone of the book lets it down, in my opinion. And then just one final thought as well on the magic system. I'm starting to get a feeling, that these hard magic systems are authors trying to outdo each other to see who comes up with the most creative magic system, okay? Which, you know, fine, as I said, I really like the idea of splitting light to turn it into different substances here. I thought, you know, it was a really good positive of the series. But these hard magic systems, because they impose very strict rules on the users, I find that authors end up breaking those rules because they need to serve their main character. And I made a criticism of that on the Mistborn series, and if you haven't done so, check my video. But here again, so we've got the different colors that drafters can use, and again, the problem with a hard magic system is that you need to explain it. So again, we've got our exposition pages in order to wrap our heads around what's going on. But fine. But then later on in the books, there are new colors. There are new colors we didn't know about that now people can draft and use. Okay, could have told me that at the beginning, because this is kind of shifting the goalposts. And then there's the black color that encompasses or absorbs everything, and okay, that's new because there are no black drafters at all, so this is a new stuff. And then at the end, no one has ever done it before, the white Luxin, the white color appears to save the day. Oh man, I don't know, maybe I'm being picky, maybe I didn't understand it properly, but in my opinion, I am still to see a hard magic system done to full satisfaction. I think it is creative. I think it certainly adds a new dimension, because yeah, who's tired of seeing wizards casting fireballs? So I appreciate that, and I really can see what different authors are trying to do, but they break their own rules. They break the framework in which they have decided to operate, and that for me is a big no-no. And then I've seen in my Twitter feed conversations, right? So I am the kind of person that reads a book front to back. I will read the introduction, I will read the acknowledgements section, the thank yous, all that sort of stuff. It interests me, I like it. Now, in the Burning White, in the acknowledgements section, here, on the very last page, there is a, which one is it? It's here, there you go, bam, sorted, there. There's a link to a secret section of Brent Weeks' website. And that secret section is the true ending of the Lightbringer series. So the series doesn't end with the last book in the last page. You have to go to the website to read the true ending. Now, I don't know whether to spoil this or not. I'm going to make up my mind as I talk about it now. I am all in for offering a wider reading experience, okay? I like it. I've got a book there that maybe I should cover one day. This one here. S by Doug Dorst. J.J. Abrams was involved in it, but the book is more than a book. It's kind of a book. I don't want to say a game, but the reading experience goes beyond just reading the pages of the book. And I enjoyed it. It was really creative, very good idea. So I don't mind having to go to the author's website to get the last chapter. Problem is, it's not even a chapter. That last section, true ending of the book, is a couple of paragraphs. It's not very long. And I can see why what happens there may be the case. Is certainly hinted at. Is not a Deus Ex Machina moment like the ones I mentioned before. It's probably actually quite well crafted. But then I think it's a little bit open to interpretation. It's kind of like, you get to decide where you finish the series. Last page of the book, or go to my website and see the true ending. And let me tell you, the true ending is very different from the ending you get in the book. And I don't know, I suppose if it's there, I'll take it as the true ending. That's my choice, that's my opinion. Maybe was it a cowardly thing to do by the author? He didn't dare to put that in the book because maybe an editor thought that it wasn't an appropriate ending. I don't know. Let me know, comment. Let me know what you think. Check it out. If you finish reading the series and you weren't aware of this secret ending, and as I said, I've seen by judging some conversations on my Twitter feed that some people are not aware of the true ending, read it. Have a go. I'm going to leave the link to the true ending of the Lightbringer series in the description below. And let me know what you think. So, in summary, I wanted to like the series more than I did. Is it bad? It's not bad. Is it good? It's not good. It's okay. I saw an interview with Brent Weeks where he said that most fantasy books, by the very definition, would be average, and I think this falls in that category. It's average. And that's maybe because I'm a little bit picky and I like my stories to be tight and there be no plot holes there. So for me, actually, Lightbringer has killed a bit the enthusiasm I've got for the fantasy genre. So I know I've got The Faithful and the Fallen, and I've also got the First Lot trilogy left to read. But I think I'm going to take some time off fantasy for now. I want to read a couple other things and maybe go back to those. It's been a bit of a disappointment, but I wouldn't go as far as to say I don't recommend it. Certainly not in my top 5 fantasy series of all time, because of the things I've explained below. But let me know what you think. Like, dislike, subscribe. You can check me out on Twitter, AmazingWorlds3, and let me know what you think, if I've got it all wrong, or if you agree, just tell me why. Let's have a conversation. Until next time, take care, bye.